Good morning, friends, and welcome back. I wanted to show you how I took an old picture and picture frame and did this watercolor hack using a stained glass pattern. I used a bit of glitter there, and I also used some inks. I'm going to put the link for you to purchase the inks right below this video. So go down into the description box. You'll see the link. You can go right on over and purchase those. As always, guys, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will show you now how you can do this too. The first thing you want to do is take a picture frame that still has the glass covering the picture. And we're going to take the glass out of that. Now this has to obviously be a picture that you don't want anymore. You're going to give it to Goodwill, or you can go into the thrift store and find a lot of these. You want to find a frame that you like. Just make sure it still has the glass over the picture. And we're going to take that glass out and place it over a stained glass pattern. Now you're wondering, where do I get a stained glass pattern? You can go online and search for free stained glass patterns. And I want to recommend that you go with something pretty simple. We've all seen those stained glass works of art that look very intricate. And for this project, it's a good idea to start out with something that's kind of similar to this pattern that I have here, where there aren't thousands of tiny little boxes. Now what I want to do is tape this glass over my pattern. And this low-tack painter's tape works really well. So I'm just going to tape the top, the sides, and the bottom here. Now I'm going to take the Mod Podge Dimensional Magic, and I'm going to outline this whole pattern. Now, to make it a little bit easier, because it's a beginner's project, I'm not going into every single line. You see how this looks like the paint by number set? I am not going to outline every single box because we really don't need to, especially for a watercolor image. So I'm going to continue to outline this, but I'm going to use glitter over this to make this outline really stand out. If you don't want to use glitter, you can either leave it clear or you can use these glass paint outliners. This one that's made by a company called, I believe it's pronounced Pebo, spelled P-E-B-E-O, has a really fine tip on it, and this will air dry within 24 hours. It comes in a few different colors, and you can see it's got a nice fine tip on there. Now, I did not want to go with a black outline for this, so that's the reason I didn't use this one. You can also use this gallery glass, and all three of these say that they need 24 hours to dry. So you might want to outline your pattern the day before you're ready to do the actual project. Both of these products come in different colors, so you may want to look into those. I did want a clear medium here, the dimensional, so I went with the Mod Podge Dimensional Medium, and while it was still wet, I took my glitter to match the project that I was doing, and I sprinkled it over all of the medium, and I just let that dry overnight. Now it's the following morning, and I wanted to show you this in the sunlight so you could see how pretty it looks. And it's all dry, so I'm going to take this paper off of the back. I'll remove the pattern now. And because we used the low-tack painter's tape, this tape is going to pull away from the paper easily and from the glass. Here's how it looks without the paper in back of it. You can see how pretty this already looks. And I'm just going to flip it over to show you the back of it too. Even that's really pretty. But the very next step for this is to take a piece of rice paper and put it over this pattern. Now I'm just showing you this coffee filter. You can see that you can see right through the coffee filter. You could do your outlining here, or you could use the rice paper. You could practice on these coffee filters, or if you're starting out very small and your coffee filter, I would recommend using the cone coffee filters, which are flat if you're going to do this. You can use one of the smaller coffee filters on a smaller pattern, but here's what you can do with the rice paper. Now this is just a plain sheet of rice paper. I'll have the link below so that you can get a package of this. You could see pretty clearly through here the outline. It's a lot easier to see. Let me see if I can put this in some brighter light. Okay, so here I am in some better light. Now you can see right through this paper to the pattern below. And once we get this wet, you'll be able to see that even more. And again, you're going to want to use that low-tack painter's tape to tape the rice paper over the pattern. And you can take a pencil and lightly outline your pattern. And now we're going to experiment with our inks. You can use alcohol inks for these, but because I want to go for a watercolor image, I want to dilute these inks a little bit. So I'm pouring, here's what I ended up doing. I ended up taking 1 cap of the alcohol and putting it into a little cup, and then 1 drop of the color I wanted to use. By the way, you definitely want to wear gloves for this project. That ink gets on your fingers, under your nails. It stains everything. You really want to make sure you've got some gloves on. It's also a good idea to experiment with those colors on the coffee filter or the rice paper, just to make sure you like the way they look together, to make sure you can see if it's a mild enough color or a vivid enough color. I ended up doing this pattern 2 times, making this pattern twice, because one of them, like this color in particular, it came out a little bit too vivid. And it really, for me, didn't look like a watercolor. It was too much of a strong color. So I ended up diluting it a lot more until I got a very watercolor effect with this color. I only knew that after it dried, so I was hoping it would lighten up once I was finished. So I went over the whole piece and just filled in these spaces with different colors of ink mixed with the alcohol. And I let this sit outside. I think it dried within about 5 minutes because of the alcohol in here. It just dries it up really quickly. By the way, I am using droppers. If you go into the craft store and you look in the section where they sell all of these inks, you can find a whole box of these droppers. And that's the best way to apply this for the watercolor effect. So here I went back again and just went with some lighter colors. And you know what? I didn't even outline it this time because I could see so well through the rice paper. I just went in and applied color in areas where I wanted to and made sure these were a little bit lighter. And I omitted the purple that I had in the last one. And because these dry so quickly, you can experiment with a few of them and see which one you like best, which is what I did. So here's the original one that I made, and when I put it underneath the butterfly that I have outlined with the glitter and just line it all up, you can see how really pretty it looks. This did, even though I liked it, that teal color was still a little bit too intense for me. I really wanted this to be more of a watercolor look, but I'll still show you what I did. I took the butterfly, and I didn't want to cut it out. You can see how you can line up the pattern here. By the way, there's a few pencil marks in there, and you are able to go back in with your eraser and just erase those right out. So now you have your butterfly, and the background paper needs to have a little something going on there. So what I want to do is tear out the butterfly shape and tear away the colored part from the original rice paper. By the way, this was the second one that I worked on that had the much lighter colors. And I just tore away these edges And you don't see any pencil marks on this one. This is the one where I also didn't use the outline. And I'm just going to finish tearing this away. Now I wanted to give the background a little bit of color, so I took a whole sheet of rice paper. I added an additional capful of alcohol into the ink. So there are 2 capfuls of alcohol per 1 drop of ink. I should be wearing my gloves here. And I put it in 2 of the colors that I used, 2 of the original colors, so that I would have a kind of a light meadow look in the background. Here's how that background paper looks now that it's dry. And you can see that because I used similar colors, it's going to complement or match this. Now we're ready to decoupage. I prefer napkin decoupage glue, so what I'm going to do is take the glitter side up of the glass. Here's where all the fresh glitter is. And I'm going to flip it over. Here's how my butterfly looks. Now you can see it goes outside the lines a little bit, which is just what I wanted so that it looks like a watercolor. And I'm going to flip this face down. The side that I put the ink on is also face down. And I first just took my brush with the decoupage glue on it, but notice that the rice paper is a little bit thicker than a napkin. So I went and I took my mister and lightly spritzed a few areas and then went back in with my napkin decoupage glue. You really want to use an artist's brush with the bristles on it so that it can get into these fibers. You want to load up the brush with a lot of the napkin decoupage glue and work in small sections at a time, usually from the center out. And make sure you get those ends. If the ends aren't secured down, that's how your work can come apart. So as long as you make sure you cover this whole surface, want to look in some bright light too, because I noticed there were a few air bubbles that did not come through the rice paper, so I had to force them out with the brush. Just look in very bright light, tip your glass on a few different angles. Now while this is still wet, by the way, let's flip this over so we can see how it's looking so far. It looks so pretty. I don't know what that little spot is there. I'll get rid of it. But I want to now add the background paper, which is dry, over the back of this. So I'm going to take that, and again with the side that has the ink on it, face down over what you just decoupaged, and I'm just going to repeat that process. So I'm going to press this down, lightly spritz. These misters are amazing. You can put them on your face throughout the day. They're very refreshing and hydrating. It's a really fine mist. I use it on my plants, my artwork, my face. So you want to spritz that a little bit. Take the decoupage glue, napkin decoupage glue, again with the bristle brush, and go over the whole pane of glass, which is really the whole sheet of paper over this pane of glass. You keep checking that you don't have any air bubbles in there, move them out to the side, and make sure again that you get these edges down very securely. It's better to have too much decoupage glue here than not enough. And once I made sure this whole back was thoroughly covered with the decoupage glue, I put this outside to dry, face down in the sun. It dries really quickly out there. While this was drying, I took my frame outside and spray painted it. And now that my glass pane is all dry, if you just take a nail file and go around the edges in one direction, make sure you file in a downward direction so that you're not pulling the paper away. Don't go back and forth, just go straight down. And you can do this pretty quickly, go all around the edges, and it'll take any of that excess away. And now we'll turn this over. Everything's dry, and here's how our completed butterfly looks. I'm really excited about this project. Now let's put it back in the frame. And here's how we look. And as you can see, this is a very watercolor type of image. The inks are perfect for this project. I hope you give this a try. I'm going to show you this outside in the sunlight. So if you put it in a sunny spot, inside your house, of course. I'm outside right now. I just wanted to show you if you put this in a sunny spot inside your house, you can see how the sun would really draw someone's eyes to this. And just for us, it is so pretty to look at. And just imagine, there are stained glass patterns for lighthouses, for the beach, for shells, for flowers, for anything you can imagine. Don't forget to come over to my Facebook page, Upcycle with Decoupage, where you'll be notified every week when I put a new video out, but you have to hit like on the page and then follow. And then Facebook automatically notifies you when I post anything. So again, I'll be posting the products for sale right below this video, so you don't even have to go over to my website. And please don't forget about subscribing. That's what keeps us thriving over here at YouTube, what keeps us going. And I am trying to reach the 100,000 mark with my subscribers. So if you can share this video with your friends, with Pinterest, on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you'd like, I would really love it if we could get my channel up to 100,000 subscribers, and you guys have helped me out in the past, so thank you very much for that. There is one thing, guys, you do not have my permission to repost my videos on your channel on YouTube. These are strictly my property, so while it's okay to share them for other people to view, it is not okay for you to place them on your YouTube channel. And I will see you next week with another video. Don't forget, if you give this a try, you can always post your pictures privately or publicly on my Upcycle with Decoupage page. I love to see the work you guys do because it inspires me too. There are some incredibly talented, creative people out there. So I love that we all keep each other going. I will see you guys next week and hope you're having a lovely spring. It's finally warmed up here, so happy about that. No snow. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.